this is the Neapolitan cat. If I'm wrong, let me know. Um, yeah. Okay, so this is relevant, I swear. Trust the process. Um, okay, so I am talking about Chopin's Third Sonata, final movement, finale. It's called Presto ma non tanto. So it's fast but not too fast, because of course he would say something like that in Italian. Um, so here we go. Neapolitan cat chord with the yellow circle. I thought that was just very important. I have one here. Um, so my paper and my whole kind of discussion in general was talking about gesture. I really liked that idea, and I wanted to take it into kind of the craft of like listening to the music and how accessible it is. So, yeah, I'm just going to be covering all of the big gestural things and how the form in general and how the harmonies here like to interact with that and how they support that. So, with our intro, we've got this crazy thing with these octaves. So, if you imagine that on a piano, you're just slamming the piano and jumping all up and down like one of those Looney Tunes cartoons. Um, and it's kind of ambiguous what the harmony is, but he goes somewhere with it. It's pretty interesting. We've got a pretty clear main idea here. Da 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 na 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 da 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 na na na. So it likes to move up by these diatonic thirds. We end up in D major for a bit, and then we end up in F major. Originally we are in B minor, but it's Chopin, so obviously we're gonna modulate everywhere. Interestingly enough, just like looking at this from far away, you wouldn't really be able to see much of a melody. But whenever I hear pianists play this, this clear melody on top really comes out very nicely. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you've got leading tones and you've got all sorts of suspensions, which are smaller distances, and that creates more of a coherent melody than these octave, fourth, this whole thing. I hope my mouse isn't annoying, by the way. This thing's gonna be flying all over the screen. There might be a laser pointer thing I can do somewhere. Yeah, anyway, never mind. Um, so this is our main theme. Uh, Obviously, down here we've got the whole thing in octaves now, so he's getting louder and louder. Chopin likes to use rhythm and harmony interchangeably to build up tension, and I think that really creates his sense of gesture. So we've got this chromaticism here. This is kind of the peak right here. It lands on a 5 chord though. It's very tense, and then this chromaticism is like, okay, so maybe we're not really resolved, and then you've got a Neapolitan chord, which resolves into this little cadence here. It's very interesting. We've got pretty much the same thing. This section right here has this kind of diminished sonority to it. And then, up here you see again these really high notes, and everything's either ascending slowly or descending slowly. One point I like to make in my paper and with gesture with Chopin in general is how much he likes to take, like how much time he takes on each rhythm. So, for example, if we look at this first page is generally just the first melody. So the first theme. If I go down to our structural, like large scale analysis, you'll see these giant colorful boxes everywhere that basically box in when different things are happening. And when we get to a B section, it's basically the entire page is filled up, and it's got all these descending things and these two different motifs, and it's very gestural. Um, and I believe this here is like half cadence. So we've got even more tension, and then all of that gets released with this It's very fun. We've got this second motif. I mean, it appears up here, but I thought this one isn't, clipping through the side of the page, so that was my good example of that. He's not just using this, he's actually developing it as well, which I thought was interesting. He's making it happen a lot longer. Um, Ooh, this text is a little janky. We won't worry about that. So Chopin uses lots of sequences, and you could, if I feel like it would manifest as a kind of minimalism if you just didn't write like Chopin, if you simply just had a sequence existing in raw form. But of course, because he's a romantic dude, he's going to have everything appearing as a sequence. So we've got this dun 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 dun, and it creates another harmonic progression that flows together, and it basically it stitches itself together, and it's stitched together with these other pieces. It all fits together in one big thing. And here we've got some more harmonically ambiguous stuff, but it still follows that structure. It's got this thing that repeats, and then it's got this transition. Same thing repeating, just maybe some different keys, and then an even bigger transit. This is like I would recognize this as a transition for the entire thing. So we've got basically this chromatic thing, and then it's doubled in here. Oh, zoom in. Bum, bottom, bottom, bottom. So he likes to basically, wherever he goes harmonically, he likes to find his way back home by hitting some kind of dominant chord first, which I think you can see a lot of composers probably do that. As it comes back, it seems faster because the texture changes here. So here's a good rhythmic thing. We've got these quartuplets. It's basically 4 notes against 3 notes. I've seen this with Edvard Grieg's things. He's got his Notturno's got like 9 in one hand and I think 6 in the other hand, or 4 in the other hand, something crazy like that. Those rhythms, when I play them, are very expressive. They flow out of your fingers, and so the first time this A theme is presented, everything is succinct. It's bum ba 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 ba. But down here we've got these 4 notes, and hi John.
Hello.
I'm recording. Oh, it's okay. Um, so we've got these 4 notes in the left hand, and that's creating more texture. It's creating more speed, and our melody's still going along the same. Bum ba dum da dum da dum da dum da dum da da da, whatever it is. So with the left hand, it's creating even more speed, but we're not actually going much faster. It's really interesting how he does this. And then if you go down to the final A section, because this is sonata rondo form, you'll see he cranks it up to 11. He's got he's got these crazy 16th note things. So you're having to cram 6 notes into every pulse, and it's really hard to play, and a lot of pianists complain about it. I think there's a video online of someone crying over it, and they gave Chopin devil horns or something in the thumbnail. But yeah, we've got similar transitions. Here's the Neapolitan cat cameo that I found. This is kind of our bigger development. Obviously these closing themes, this purple stuff, I describe as a closing theme. This is 24 bars of straight 16th notes. So you have to be really good at tickling the ivories to get this to come through. But obviously you can see he's got these what do you call that? 8VA. Basically he's going way up into the stratosphere and all the way back down, and he's coming up again and coming back down. And so there's a very clear melodic contour, even though he's not giving you like a rest in between or something that I as a wind player like to look for in phrase analysis. So these developments are really nice. We've got some crazy octave type stuff, and obviously he's going up into the stratosphere again. Interestingly enough, I noticed his modulations here got particularly spicy. If I scroll up to the other flavor of analysis right here, you'll see that we haven't been in B minor for a hot minute. Um, you've got C minor, E flat major, a lot of stuff in B major because he really liked the parallel major, and we end up ending the parallel major, which I'll get to in a second. So this Neapolitan cat chord takes over and becomes everything modulating up a half step to A major cat. That's a pretty good sentence right there. So basically what's happening here is Chopin dumps you off here, all this crazy da 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 da, and then once you hear a Neapolitan chord, you're expecting it to just kind of go back to one because that's what we've seen before in, these parts right here, da 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 da, meow meow. But this time, he uses that, like hammering that in the bass and everything, to suddenly modulate everything up a half step, and it actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it because he's already established his rhythm. We've basically got a rhythmic motif. He does it twice in a row. And then by the third time you do it, he's playing with your expectations, and he's just going to run off with this crazy diminished descending thing and then a chromatic thing here. And then, oh, now it resolves. It's pretty crazy. So, and also this really rumbly bass. Oh my gosh. I would not want to play this. I'm maybe not this good at piano. Um, but yeah, I believe that is it. We've got a coda here that obviously does all sorts of crazy things, but I think that's just him bragging about being a pianist. Lots of repetition, lots of 5151 because it's not 1900 and people aren't tired of it yet. They really like it. Yeah, I believe that's it. I've got lots of gestural stuff in here. If you check out the paper, I might have some more specific examples. And that's it. Have a good Christmas and goodbye.